person who loves cats. I never meant to get so fat, but here I am despite what's done. So let's get into this and have some fun.
Meow meow. Good morning. It's Bank Holiday Monday. Kind of feels like a bank holiday, you know. It's kind of well, it's raining for a start. It is first thing in the morning. I haven't been up long. I have my coffee. I just wanted to do a really hopefully quick video on something I saw last night. So this is not a reaction video, as in I'm not going to be going through the video I watched bit by bit and, you know, commenting on it, because that's not what I do. But I did want to firstly bring the video to everyone's attention. I know I don't have many subscribers, but those of you that I do have, I wanted to just bring it to your attention. It's about a public figure on the internet, and it's part of a series which has been made by a very talented creator called Mr Snowflake. He's made a series of the quite awful and toxic relationships that this person has with her partners. He's done other videos on her as well. I'm not going to mention her name because I don't really want this to be about her. I want it to be more about the documentary that was made about her. If that makes sense. So I've put the link in the description. Go to the channel, watch it. It is long. There was a lot to cover, so it is about 4 hours long. But watch it. It's a hard watch in places. So I guess this is my reaction, but it's just my thoughts on the situation, really, and how it made me feel. So I guess the first thing to say is that it made me feel quite uncomfortable. It did remind me, I'm sorry about my voice, it's always like this in the morning. I have an issue with my throat, and nothing serious, but I do have an issue which makes my voice really, really hoarse in the morning. So yeah, it made me feel quite uncomfortable. It also made me remember a lot of previous situations that I've been in. There were moments where the look on her face, or something she said, or a reaction she gave did kind of make me go, oh, you know, from previous situations that I've been in. I have to tell you, I had to just pause the video because my husband came in from the garden and he walked through the door and said, "Bloody pigeons." And apparently he was sat out in the garden. It's a bit of a grey morning and it has been raining because it's bank holiday. And he was just sat reading his book, and a pigeon must have been sat in the tree, decided to move, flap, 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 and he got a very cold shower from all the water that was in the tree. Made me laugh. Anyway, back to this. So yes, it made me feel uncomfortable. Yes, it reminded me of some previous situations that I have been in. It made me reflect. I was thinking when I went to bed last night on what makes somebody that awful, and can she see how awful she is, or is she completely oblivious to it? And if she is completely oblivious to it, how does someone be that horrible? And there are moments in that video where she is very abusive emotionally and in other ways as well, and she's very manipulative. And there are moments where you look at her partner and you can see the pain in their eyes. And I think, how can she not see that? And if she can see it, how can she be okay with it? Because she says time and time again, oh, you know, in relationships, people are mean to each other. People get angry. Yes, they do. They do get angry. And yes, Rich and I do argue. Of course we do. We've been together 9 years. We've known each other for 40 years. And we've been married for 6 years. And yes, of course we argue. And yes, there have been times where we have said things to each other out of anger or in the heat of the moment that we haven't meant. But neither of us have ever displayed the type of behaviour that she displayed. And then I think back to my parents, and I think back to my dad. You know, my dad had very revealing eyes. And I could always tell from his eyes whether he was upset or angry or, you know, in a jokey mood. They used to reveal everything about him. And gosh, Dad and I have had some humdingers of arguments over the years. My goodness me. And when I was a teenager, I used to accuse him of sucking all the fun out of my life. I said, this is your sole job, isn't it? This is all you have to do. It's like suck all the fun out of my life. And I said some awful things to him. And then my heart would break because I knew that I'd hurt him. And thankfully, as I grew up and became an adult, and became a little bit more kind of responsible for my behaviour. And that actually took quite a long time, actually. But, you know, thankfully, I did manage to curb that, and I did change. And I hope, Dad, that I was much more considerate of other people's feelings, particularly people that I care about and love. So anyway, what makes her so awful? How can she stand to be so awful? And I realised that one of her main focuses of her YouTube channel is to lose weight. Lose weight. And I do this because she started, I believe it was about 11 years ago. She's now over 200 pounds heavier than she was 11 years ago. And her 11-year journey has just been one failure after another. You know, giving up, giving up. Now, I am not in a position to judge someone on that. I have tried to diet for many years. Many years. And I've tried. And I've given up, and I've tried, and I've given up. And yes, I am heavier now than I was 11 years ago. So, am I in a position to judge her for that? No, I'm not. However, 11 years ago, let's go back for me a bit further than that. Just over 13 years ago, I was in what I call active addiction. If you've seen any of my previous videos, then I touched on it a little bit there. That I was addicted to drugs, and I'm not going to go into details as to which drugs. I promise I will do another video, but it's not important for this one. But I was in active addiction, and as a result of being an addict, I was quite an annoying person to be around at times. Probably quite a lot of the time, actually. I was manipulative. I lied. I was very self-centered. Now, the odd thing about this, and I think the difference between me and her, is that she displays a lot of this behaviour. But I think the difference is that I knew I was doing it. I found it difficult to stop doing it, if that makes sense. Sorry, another interruption. I had a phone call. and it was spam as well. Anyway, yeah, so I displayed a lot of this behaviour. She also does. But the difference is that it's very hard to explain. But for me, when I was in the active addiction, I still describe myself as an addict, but I now describe myself as an addict in recovery. When I was in active addiction, I did display these types of behaviour. I was horrible to people. I knew I was doing it, and it felt like it was out of my control. And I manipulated people to get what I wanted. And usually what I wanted was money to go and buy more drugs. And the people I manipulated, there were a couple of people quite close to me, and my dad. And I would the way that I would manipulate my dad would be to pull on his heartstrings. So I knew that my dad wasn't a wealthy man, don't get me wrong, but I knew that he would never see me go without food, for example. So I would phone him up and say, Dad, I've got no food. Can you send me over some money to go shopping? So he'd send me £40, and of course I would go straight out and buy drugs. He got wise to that, and he said, I'm not going to send you the money, but I'll come and take you shopping. So I just stepped up my game, and I shouldn't laugh, it's not funny. I stepped up my game, and he would take me to the supermarket. I would take the money from him, go in, and I would steal most of what I came out with, put a little bit of it through the checkout. And then that meant I had the money. I'm really ashamed of that. It meant I had the money. And Dad thought that I'd spent it on shopping. So I lied, I stole, I was manipulative. And thank God that I found recovery nearly 13 years ago. Because if I hadn't, I wouldn't be here now. Since I've been in recovery, one of my purposes in life, I believe, is to, well, first of all, we take one day at a time. That's how recovery works. Just for today, one day at a time. And every day, I try to be the best that I can be. And some days, that may be here. Other days, it may be here. Some days, it might get to here. But I try my best. And I just try to be the best that I can be. And that's not just with regards to my recovery, although I do still work a 12-step program, and I will continue to do that for the rest of my life, because that's what keeps me in recovery. And trust me, it's not something I ever want to lose. But I also try in terms of weight loss, in terms of living a healthy lifestyle, except for the cigarettes. But we'll come to that in another video. I'm getting there, guys. I'm working through things one thing at a time. Being healthy isn't just about what you eat, or whether you smoke, or how much you drink. I do smoke. I don't really drink. And my eating habits and what I eat has been much better in the last few months. And that's great. But being healthy is also about being able to foster healthy relationships, having healthy behaviour and healthy thinking. And you know that saying that beauty is on the inside? I realised that this person who is, everything she does is striving to be beautiful. She'll pluck at her clothes and admire herself in the mirror, and has thousands of pairs of earrings, and actually is quite good at doing her makeup sometimes. Puts the makeup on, won't have a haircut because she thinks the long hair is like really beautiful, etc., etc. And I realised, and this is not me being bitchy, but after I'd watched this documentary last night, I thought, she'll never be beautiful, ever. She could lose £400 and go down to being like, you know, £100, £110. She will not be beautiful. She can have her hair done by Vidal Sassoon, and she can wear all the makeup in the world, you know, have it done by a top makeup artist. I don't know any. Are you surprised by that? And she will never be beautiful. I know that sounds like a really horrible thing to say about someone. I've got some notes and I can't read them, so the glasses are going on. Yeah, unless she takes a really honest, hard look at herself and changes some of those things that make her who she is, the way she treats people, her way of thinking, her self-centeredness, her total obsession with herself, she will never be healthy, truly healthy. She will never be beautiful. And I think that's really sad. I think it's really, really sad. You know, going back to the addict stuff, in Narcotics Anonymous, which is the program I'm part of and I follow, there is a saying that you can be clean and crazy. And what that means is that you're abstaining from using drugs, but you're not actually recovering. You're not working the 12-step program. In Narcotics Anonymous, one of the very first things that you learn is that addiction is not a physical disease. It's a spiritual disease. And they break up the word disease into dis-ease. So it actually is a spiritual condition. We are all spiritual. It's not about religion, about faith, about God or anything like that, about your beliefs. It's about you. It's about your essence, what makes you you. You can abstain from drugs, but still display all of that behaviour and that way of thinking, that toxic way of thinking. So your body gets healthy because you're not using drugs anymore, but emotionally you're not healthy, mentally you're not healthy, and spiritually you're not healthy. And I want to be truly healthy. I want all of me to be healthy, and I'm a work in progress. You know, I am a work in progress. So the video last night made me sad. It made me sad that the other person concerned in the subject matter had to go through so much in that relationship. There were moments in it where it reminded me of the loss of my mum and my dad, and that was a little bit sad. And there were also moments, I might try and put up a little screenshot here, where just the look on her face, it triggered memories of so many different things in my life. At one point, she looked like a really controlling, and I don't like using the A word, but a really controlling and abusive partner that I used to have, or that I was in a relationship with. She also reminded me of a girl I was at school with who I was really scared of. She never actually did anything to me, but her words were very cutting, and she was always ready to ridicule me, and to laugh at me, and just to demean me, even if she didn't do it in a really obvious way. Yeah, she did. And one of those expressions on that face there really reminded me of that, the mean girl. And I don't mean that as a term of endearment. She was horrible. There are lots of videos about this person out there. And there are lots of stories about the way she treats her pets. And that really upsets me, seeing two of her cats in the video last night, who she purports to love and care for, and yet lost one of them in a different state. Well, she says lost one of them, but she didn't bother going to look for it. And then she just moved state and just left in the middle of winter when it was snowing. So yeah, so there are a lot of things out there about her. When I first started watching her, I really wanted her to do well. And I watched her and I thought, good on you. You know, good on you. If you're gonna, that's a massive journey that you're undertaking. And I think when you are obese, when you are really, really overweight, it's a huge journey to start because it seems like a never-ending journey. And I really wanted her to do well. And when I started watching her, it was a couple of years ago, but I started watching from the beginning. So I was kind of playing catch up for a while. But I detest her now, I really do. I recognised so much of her behaviour as addict behaviour. And I'm grateful I'm not there anymore. I'm grateful that every day I do have the opportunity to do better and be better. Very grateful for Mr Snowflake for the hard work that he put into making that video. I'm very grateful we actually watched it on as a live premiere last night. Had seen it before because as a member of the channel I'd got to see it a couple of days previously. But I watched it with the rest of the Snowflake community, as it were, last night, and I'm very grateful for that community because I think they proved last night that the internet is not just full of trolls and haters. And there are nice people out there. There are genuinely nice people out there. And I know that the person concerned, I keep saying that, I just don't want to say her name. I know that she will never watch this video. But just on the off chance that she does, and just on the off chance that one of her fans messages her on Instagram, which apparently happens all the time, telling her what's being said about her on the internet. So just on the off chance that that happens, my message to her would be, yes, she needs to lose weight because she is in an unhealthy place, very risky and dangerous place with her weight. But she really needs to start in here. She really, really needs to start looking at who she is, how she behaves, how she treats people, and really look at what's important to her. Because one day she'll wake up, if she survives the physical side of, you know, of being so obese, one day she'll wake up and everybody will be gone. I think I had a bit of a realisation early into my recovery, probably in the first 3 months of my recovery. I had a bit of a realisation as to what an awful person I'd been. And as to, you know, how horrible I'd been to my family and to some of my friends. And that was really hard. It was really, really hard. Now, thankfully, I had the tools to deal with it, and I was also able, where I could, to make amends to those people. And where amends weren't possible, because they're not always, I was certainly able to have conversations with those people, hard conversations, but I was able to have conversations where I could take responsibility for what I'd done, where I could not make excuses, but try to explain, you know, how things were at that time, and just take responsibility for what I'd said, apologise. It was then up to them. Yeah, I can't ask someone to forgive me. I can ask someone for forgiveness, but it's up to them whether or not that's something that they give me. And if they don't, then I have to be okay with that. you know, because that's their prerogative. Thankfully, they did. Thankfully, they did. So, you know, but yeah, somebody wants to take a message back to her on Instagram. You want to tell her she'll never be beautiful. She will always be ugly. And the reason she will always be ugly, I'll get called fatphobic now. Me, fatphobic. Hello. The reason she will always be ugly is because that's how she is in here and in here. It's got nothing to do with being fat. There were a couple of people on the live feed last night who said, you know, gosh, don't you realise that you're being just as bad as her by saying the things that you are, or by making fun of her? And that made me think, because I thought, are we, gosh. And then I thought, what we are saying is a response to years and years of witnessing this person displaying abhorrent behaviour. And I think I would be right in saying that certainly within the community of people watching that video last night, had somebody who was fat, had difficulties with self-care, particularly with, you know, hygiene issues, being able to reach places and do things, had trouble with sticking to a diet, had trouble with, you know, I don't think there was anyone in that audience that would have belittled, berated, or made fun of somebody for those reasons. There would be a lot of support for somebody in that situation. And she is in that situation, but she's also an absolutely vile person. And I can't think of one nice thing to say about her. I just can't. I know it sounds harsh, and I would never judge somebody on how they look. I won't even judge them on how they think, or, you know, how they are. If you are trying every day to just be the best that you can be, and if you're considerate and thoughtful of the people around you, we all lose our temper sometimes, we all get angry, we all have bad days. And on those days, on the bad days, the best that you can be might be a little less than it was yesterday. Do I judge people? I probably do, because I've probably judged her. But I find it hard to explain how I judge people or what I judge people on. And all I can say is that 11 years of evidence of the just toxic stuff that spews out of this person. Maybe that's why I place my judgments on. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end the video. Sorry it was a bit jumbled, jumping around, but I did make some notes, which I had to put my glasses on to read because I couldn't read them. I did make some notes, and I did lie awake for quite a while last night thinking about this. And you know, let's just all do better. Let's just all, you know, appreciate the people around us. Be grateful for the people around us, grateful for the life we have. And, you know, I know that for some people, putting on makeup, getting their hair done, you know, looking really smart, or the clothes they wear is very important to them. Fantastic, you carry on being you. You know, I like to get my hair done, mainly because I can't wash it myself, because I have stupid shoulders. Anyway, so I like to get my hair done. I don't wear makeup. But I have been thinking I might start wearing it again. Anyway, that's a different thing. Yeah, don't wear makeup. Usually in jeans and a t-shirt. And that's me. So I'll carry on being me. You carry on being you. You know, do whatever makes you you. But just appreciate the people around you. And love the people around you. And treat them as though you love them. I'm sure that a lot of us were taught by our parents that you treat people the way you want to be treated. I am a great believer in karma. And I believe that, I nearly said her name then, this person is now being treated the way that she has treated other people. In a way. Maybe not exactly the same, but in a way. She's brought it on herself. And I have no sympathy for her. And yeah, I don't feel bad about it. And I will carry on watching Mr Snowflake's videos. I know he's going to take a break from focusing on her for a while. I don't blame him. So I will carry on watching his videos. There are some other reaction channels that I do watch. Karina Kaboom, Studio Deets, and Salty Crab. I will carry on watching those. But I will never go to this person's channel and watch a video. I will never support them. Not unless something absolutely miraculous happens and she puts a video out there saying, I'm a shit person and this is what I've done. And I'm truly sorry. And I'm going to do everything I can to make amends to all the people that I've hurt. And then does it. But I really can't see that happening. But hey, you know, never say never. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go because my poor husband has been banished to the other room while I record this video. And I ought to let him back in, really, didn't I? What do you think? So I'll see you guys soon. Have a lovely bank holiday. Lots of love. Meow, meow.